Crane father and Crane son vying for the same woman. It is something that we have seen before in the original Frasier of the 90s, but you know what? It works here as well. Let's talk about Frasier. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my Frasier review for the latest episode, number 6 for the first season. Blind Date is the name of it. And we're more than halfway through the season now. There's only 10 episodes, so just a few left, unfortunately, because I think it's really starting to heat up. These last couple episodes have been really, really strong, and I'm going to launch into all the specifics here in just a moment. But first, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We do movie and TV reviews here every week, and that includes Frasier episodes. Yep, we started doing the first couple episodes of Frasier when they premiered, and it got a really, really great response. So I figured, you know what, let's do these every week. I usually do it with the Connors, but that is on hiatus because of the writers and the actor strikes. So we probably won't get new episodes of that till next year. So figured, why not tackle these episode by episode, and I've really been enjoying it. And please comment down below. Love to hear your thoughts about these episodes, whether they, dovetail with mine or not. Let me know. What did you think of this one, Blind Date? And how do you think the season is going on the whole? I know I've certainly been turned around a little bit from those first couple episodes. I think, for the most part, we're getting better and better with each week, or, at least in the ballpark. But all right, please consider subscribing below too. Would love to have you aboard in that capacity. All right, so let's get into the episode of the week, Blind Date. This was written by Kelly Park. She gets the writing credit here, and she also wrote the third episode, First Class, the first episode in which I thought, okay, this actually could work. This reboot. So we love her. I'm familiar with her other than these two episodes, but Joe Cristalli is the director of this one. Completely unfamiliar with him. I don't know if he has history with the Frasier universe or not, but I haven't seen his name pop up anywhere else. So perhaps not. But on this one, well, okay, a couple things right away. The most hated character of this new reboot, David, is not in this episode. And it's something I didn't realize until after I watched, and I was sort of going through, my thoughts on the episode mentally, and I was like, wait a second, that dummy is not in this episode. And in the last episode, he was in it, but it worked very well, and you can check out my review for that. So maybe they're figuring out that this is a character that not necessarily we love to hate, but maybe we love to be annoyed by. I think he worked in that previous episode because Freddy was kind of annoyed by him. But in this episode, he is completely absent. And also, the rest of the supporting players, other than Frasier and Freddy, are mostly absent from this episode. So the start is at the bar where Eve bartends, and we've learned from previous episodes that she is a struggling actress. So we have her and Olivia and Alan all in this first scene, and she is telling them about this play that she's in on Saturday, and she wants them to come, and she just goes on and on about how horrible it is, and it's a work in progress, but it's this mystery where we never really solve it, and all of that. So that's a very funny scene. We're sort of building up this terrible play that we do see a little bit of later on in the episode. But for the most part, the rest of those characters are pretty much absent from this episode. But then we have Freddy and Frasier come into the bar and start lamenting their love lives and whatever. And so Eve says, hey, I want to set you up, Dr. Crane. I have somebody perfect for you, this and that. And Freddy says, oh, don't let her do that. She has a horrible track record with me, and she basically blames him and says, no, you're too picky, this is a problem with you. And so both Crane men decide, you know what, let's do a complete blind date. And this was on Eve's suggestion, I guess, now that I think of it, but we will know nothing about this person, not even their name, nothing. And of course, that leads into a hilarious sort of, miscommunication, and it almost leans into farce later on in the episode, which is one of the Frasier hallmarks. I mean, some of the best Frasier episodes from the original series were these, farcical, kind of people running into rooms and misidentity and whatever. And so we do get a little bit of that here, not on such a grand scale, but in any event, that's what the episode mainly is about. So we spend almost the entire rest of the episode at the apartment. We do see just a stitch of that play, maybe 20 seconds or something of this horrible play. So we do go back for a second to that plot line, which I think is great. Basically, they called Eve to see her thoughts about the blind date and who she's setting people up with, and she doesn't answer the phone. Why? Oh, because she's on stage doing this horrible play. And what I really liked about them just giving us kind of a taste of that is, this is a streaming show, so the episode lengths, vary in range. This one's about 23 and a half minutes. But, some of them have ranged almost to a half hour. And sometimes with streaming, they sort of, indulge a little too much in, okay, well, let's spend more time on this than we would, if we were on a network or something and constricted to those, 22, 24 minutes, whatever it is. But I really like that they just gave us a little taste of that horrible play. They didn't need to draw it out. We sort of got the picture in just those, whatever, 15, 20 seconds that we got. And I really appreciated that sort of restraint from the writers on that. But anyway, so the main focal point is this June character. June Diane Raphael plays her, and her name is also June on the show. And I love this actress. I've seen her in so many things over the years, maybe most notably Grace and Frankie, but she's also part of this awesome podcast called How Did It Get Made, where her and a couple other guys, Jason Mantzoukas is one of them. He appears in a lot of shows and movies too. But it's called How Did This Get Made? And they talk about these horrible movies and really dissect them and wonder, how did these movies get greenlit, basically. And so she's a part of that. Love that. But Grace and Frankie, she was on the whole run. Great there. And she's been in so many things over the years. But anyway, so she plays June, and Frasier is by himself at the apartment when she enters. So he assumes she is his date. She notes the classical music he's playing. She talks about wine and all these things that are, certainly enticing to Frasier. So he is like, oh my gosh, Eve hit it out of the park with this one. She is, gorgeous. She's smart. We seem to have a lot in common already. Then Freddy comes home and introduces himself, and of course he thinks June is his blind date, because of course we set this up in the beginning. They know nothing, including the name of the person. So they, which, look, as a layperson kind of looking at this, it's like, okay, this woman Eve knows they live together. She's setting them both up on the same night. Is it possible that they may think, that the other one, get it mixed up or whatever? But of course that is the power of the sitcom. We sort of throw those ideas out the window and we just go for the funny. And they have definitely done this here. It was great kind of seeing Frasier and Freddy go back and forth to try and figure out who June is even there for. And they try these sort of kind of hacky techniques, but it works. They're like, oh well, let's sit on the couch and see who on which side she sits, and it turns out she sits right in the middle. All of that. I actually thought she was going to maybe sit in the chair. There seemed to be like a chair maybe in the corner, kind of facing the couch. I thought she was going to sit there, but no, they went even funnier with it and had her sit in the middle. But so this goes on and on for quite a while, and then we hear a knock at the door, and oh, it's this like super old woman. And then of course we're assuming, okay, this is Frasier's date. This is what Eve thinks of Frasier, because of course June is certainly, I don't know, 15, 20 years, Frasier's junior, if not more. So, Freddie's like, Dad, she's definitely more my age than yours. Like, what are we doing? But we learn she also likes baseball games and stuff like that interest Freddie. So she's well rounded. She's got interest for both of them. But then this old woman comes and Frasier like rushes her into the kitchen. Turns out she is the babysitter of Eve's baby, because again, as we've already set up, Eve is at this play. The nuance of the writing here for this situation really harkens back to some of those great farce episodes of the early days of Frasier. And miscommunication has always been kind of a major sort of recurring theme in those Frasier episodes from the original run. Like somebody either overhears something wrong or just mistaken identity or whatever. We've gotten that so many times. Some of the best episodes, and really to take it back to what I said at the intro, that this is the concept of crane men vying over the same woman. That has happened before, really a couple times, but first in, I don't know, season 3 or 4. There was a policewoman that Frasier was interested in, and then turns out, she was more suited to Martin. And then Ronnie, Wendy Malick, the woman Martin ends up marrying at the end of the run of Frasier. She was Frasier and Niles' babysitter, so Frasier, kind of had these little, schoolboy crush feelings still. And Martin kind of swooped in there as well, because it turns out she had always had a crush on him when she was a girl. So this is far from the first time that crane men have been fighting over the same woman. But what they've done here with the script and all of that, it's very, very funny. I would say, boy, I don't know, this is maybe the funniest of the 6 episodes that we've gotten so far. Because of all this stuff, I love when they do farce and the misidentity stuff. I just, when it's done well. And Cheers had a couple of really good farce episodes too. Woody's wedding certainly comes to mind. So I really like that concept, because it's hard to do well. It's easy to just have, somebody enter a room and somebody exit the room, and people missing each other and stuff. But the dialogue interspersed really is when it makes its mark. And they do that here very well. So anyway, this old lady is apparently the babysitter, so she's rushed back out. And then we finally do meet the real date of Frasier. And, she is a knockout. She is cultured. She again notices right away, the music and everything. And Frasier's like, oh, this is the one for me. Eve has really hit it out of the park. But in the interim, Freddie overhears June telling her female friend, whatever, over the telephone that, well, I'm here for this firefighter, Freddie, but turns out I am kind of drawn to the dad. So Freddie basically admits defeat. And then we have, the classic Frasier sort of emotional moment in the kitchen between Frasier and Freddie, where Freddie, kind of reveals, well, maybe I am the problem. I'm too picky and this and that. And so him and Frasier talk for a moment about that. And that's, every episode seems to have this sort of emotional moment, or scene. And it seems to work. A lot of those, and I've talked about this before, but a lot of those original Frasier episodes really did have, nice emotional center episodes surrounding the crazy, or with the crazy surrounding it, I should say. And so, that's a nice moment here as well. So Frasier kind of says, okay, well, if she's more drawn to me, then we'll stick with it. But then once he meets this other lady, he decides, oh, well, can we maybe play them against each other, have one out on the porch and one here in the living room, which is, a line that Freddie made as a joke. And Frasier was like, oh, did we, did we quash that too quickly? But so in the end, of course, the ladies realize that Frasier is a cad, as usual, and he is left alone, as happened so many times in the original episode. So, all right, look, to kind of put a pin on my thoughts here, I really do think this is probably the funniest episode that we've gotten so far. Last episode, number 5, was so far my favorite of the season. This one, I think, is sort of right in that range. It's interesting. I didn't notice that we didn't see David until after the fact. Because of course it's not like I'm, waiting to hate on him or anything, but every time he does enter the scene, it's like, oh, this guy that everybody hates again. It definitely works that he's not in this episode, but it honestly works more that it's just a Frasier Freddy episode. Yes, we had the other characters, at the beginning, and then we do see Eve very briefly in the middle. And we have the end scene. They always have sort of a little visual gag in the with the end credits. Frasier singing the tossed salads and scrambled eggs, but we see something that's usually pretty jokey that is a reflection on the episode, and so we do see a little bit more of the play, in those last few minutes, but or seconds, I should say. But other than that, they're all absent from this episode. It's really mainly, Freddie, Frasier, and this June woman. So I really think it worked. Sometimes less is more, and the fact that they sort of stuck to that, TV network sort of template of 23 and a half minutes, which now a network show is usually like 21 minutes or something. But anyway, a lot shorter than a lot of the streaming shows, and I think that works for it. Frasier works on that format. Sitcoms like this with the studio audience or a laugh track or whatever, I do think mainly work under that sort of 23 to 25 minute model that has been set for 60 years or whatever, and it worked here as well. So I leave Blind Date with an A minus, just like that last episode. I thought this was really well crafted, and I'm excited for more. There's only 4 more episodes, which bums me out. I want a full, 22 episode season of this show. I really hope the response continues to be good, and that they renew it for season 2. I would love to announce that for you. Can't just yet, but we will see. The Roz episode is coming up this season. The Lilith episode is coming up. We know that those people have been confirmed, Perry Gilpin and BB Newworth as guest stars. So hopefully we'll get more of them at some point. I still don't think it's going to be together. I think it'll be in separate episodes, but so far so good. They are really ramping this season up to some good stuff. So thank you for watching Dan Reviews It, and we'll see you next time. Bye.